Okay, so last night I went to watch the movie Send Help, directed by Sam Raimi, starring Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams. This film is brilliant. I cannot tell you enough how much fun I had watching this movie. It was just such a funny movie. So I'll give you sort of the rundown of it in a way, and I will go on to spoilers. So there will be spoilers in this video. So if you haven't seen the movie already, please go away, come back after you've seen it. If you don't mind, then stay around for it anyway. And maybe if you've if you've seen the movie already and you really want to hear someone else's point of view, or you want to have a discussion about it, please stay around, because I do love the discussions in the chat stuff. So anyway, this film, the only way to describe this film is, imagine the director, Sam Raimi, got a big pot. And he went, right, okay, we're going to need some Bridget Jones. We'll chuck a bit of that in there. We'll chuck a little bit of a few other rom-coms like stuff in there. We're also going to chuck in a little bit of Castaway with Tom Hanks. That can go in there. Oh, and do you know what, to round up? Let's chuck a bit of Misery by Stephen King. Let's chuck that in there as well. And this is what this film is. It is such an amazing film. Because I suppose about 80% of it, you feel like you're watching a rom-com. Like you've got all the tropes of a rom-com. You get the downtrodden office girl and the sort of higher up, arrogant sort of boss that might have a bit of a heart to him, but you don't know. And it's sort of, they get stranded together and then they've got to learn to work together. And you feel like this is all the makers of a rom-com. You can feel the sort of like the chemistry building between them two to become almost like a romance. And like, you sort of got that vibe to it. And then suddenly you're like, no, we're going to go horror, we're going to go freaky, there's going to be a few twists in it. It's brilliant. This film had me laughing a lot in some places that you're like, oh my God. It also has one scene where I was like, please don't do that. And I was proper like, no. And in my head, I was like, this is a 15, they're not going to do it. This is a 15, they're not going to do it. It was like that type of a scene. But still, absolutely brilliant. I cannot recommend this film enough. So if you haven't watched it, please go watch it. Come back and have a little chat with me about it afterwards, or just listen to what I've got to say. If you haven't sold enough, I'm going to go into the movie now, and you might sell it a bit more, because so far it's my favourite movie I watched this year. Before that, it was the Primate movie, because I enjoyed that one a lot. But this is my favourite movie I've seen this year so far. We're only in February, I know, but it's still my favourite one so far. And we still got He-Man to go. So let's get into the story. So you've got Dylan O'Brien is this arrogant arsehole boss who's taken over from the company from his dad, who's recently passed away. And there is a nod in the background to previous Sam Raimi films, because it looks like his dad was Bruce Campbell, because you see a portrait of Bruce Campbell on a wall in the background. And I was just like, that's hilarious. If you know, you know. Oh, that was great. So he's now like in charge of his company, and Rachel McAdams is this hard-working, sort of like looked down upon by everyone, sort of like used by everyone employee, who's been promised by his dad to get a promotion, like a rise for vice president or something, because she's done such a good work. Of course, then the dad dies and the son takes over. He doesn't want to give her that, because he just sees her as this like not very attractive, silly little girl that works in the office that he feels like above, and he wants to give it to his best friend who goes plays golf with. You know, that's the sort of arsehole that he is. So then they've got to do a deal in Japan. So we're all going to get a plane and go to Japan. And one sort of higher ups in the company says, look, she's good. You should take her with you. So she ends up going with them to Japan. While they're on the plane, we find out that she's applied to be on one of these Survivor shows in the past. She's massively into the survival stuff, you know, like your Bear Grylls, your Ray Mears sort of stuff. You know, she's really heavily into all that. So that's quite, you think, oh, here we go. This is what we're going to see. And then the plane randomly just crashes into the ocean, and everyone on the flight's killed apart from Rachel McAdams, who is called Linda in this, and Bradley, who's played by Dylan O'Brien, the horrible boss. So they get out of the plane, Rachel McAdams manages to swim to shore, okay, finds a little island in the middle of nowhere. It's a gorgeous island as well. Like, whoever they come up with that is stunning looking place. Gets ashore, and while she's walking on the beach, she sees her boss lying there. He's hurt his leg, so Dylan O'Brien's now hurt. She goes into full-on survival mode, starts building him a shelter, sets him up to try and nurse him back to health and that. And it kind of gave me, at this point, it kind of gave me a little bit of Misery sort of vibes, the way she was like nursing him back to health. And I kept thinking of like, obviously the Misery, and you've got like, I'm your #1 fan sort of thing. But it wasn't like that, but it kind of had that weird vibe to it. And I was like, okay, but we've also got this very much rom-com vibe. This film feels the whole way through like we're going to be in a rom-com, but then it turns, and there's a few moments where you're like, this doesn't feel like a rom-com, but you sort of like, I'd say 80% of this film, you think you're watching a rom-com. The other 20% is like horror, suspense, thriller. It's mixed so well. See, it's that mixing pot theory. Like, he just chucked it all in, mixed his pot up. Sam Raimi did an amazing job with this. So she's then nursing him back to health. He's unconscious of it. She explores the island. She comes back and sort of like helps him out. He then wakes up and she explains what's going on. He's still very arrogant, bossy, like, you work for me, you do what I say, sort of thing. And she sort of comes to the realization, like, no. And she just sort of walks away and leaves him at one point. And it's like, she's been a git to her. She walks away and leaves him. And she leaves him for a whole lot, what seems like 24 hours. He's got no water. He can't really move because he's got his bad leg. And he starts off with him like, yeah, she'll be back, like sort of thing. And you see this like over like a few minutes of him just like sitting there going, yeah, she'll be back. And he's trying to, yeah, she'll be back. And it's like hours past sort of thing. And he's like, she ain't coming back. She left him with no water and she ain't coming back. And he starts more and more dependent. And you see him like unconscious the next day. And she comes over to him and like, she's got a bottle of water. She's like, now, do you understand now? Like, we're not in the office anymore. You need me. So like, sort it out. And he sort of like comes to realization. And you get most of this film is like them sort of bonding. They sort of talking to each other about their past. And you find out like, she was married at one point. He had no clue about that. And how her husband had died, but he wasn't a very nice man. She kind of like helped him die in a sort of way because he was a drunk and she always used to hide his keys. And this one particular night, he was horrible to her. He did something to her. You kind of have an idea of what he must have done to her. And then she just like gives him the keys to the car. He's drunk. He goes out and crashes the car and dies. So it's kind of like her fault he's dead. She kind of led to it, but also it's his fault more than anything. So he hears this story and he kind of bonds with her and like talks about his family, and he's an arsehole because his mum and dad were kind of arseholes to him, didn't really show him love, doesn't really know how to love. It is a great like pairing and bonding between these two on this island. We get some great scenes in this story. We get a scene where like Linda, Amy McAdams' character, Linda, she's got to hunt a wild boar. And that scene is proper tense and proper fun. It's like the boar, it's a CGI. I will say the negative thing I have about this film is there's a few CGI moments you're like, did that have to be CGI? Because they're not a practical effect, did it? And it's some of the CGI is a bit rough. Like some of the shots where they're sort of on the beach and that, and they've got the background behind them, they're standing in front of a green screen. They're not really on an island. A lot of the stuff is shot on islands and stuff like that, but like some of the shots where you think, yes, a green screen sort of job, And there's, like I said, the wild boar, you can see it's a CGI boar, but it's good. The scene is fun, it's good. You can let it go for that scene. There's a few other times where you see things you think, that's a bit ropey, but you can let it go because you're so busy enjoying the movie, you can like ignore it. It only takes you out for a little second. But the wild boar scene, she goes to hunt the boar, and the boar's kind of stalking her, and it comes running at her, and it's one of those jump scare things, very Sam Raimi-esque jump scare thing, and she gets this like spear and she stabs it into the boar, and the boar looks like it's dead. It comes back trying to get her, and she's like stabbing it, and she's like stabbing it in the eye, so the eye sort of like bulging. It's proper gruesome as she hacked its head off, and there's always blood spurting all over her, and she's like, with this thing. It is proper gruesome, but it's like, you're laughing at it as it's going along. It's that sort of gruesome where you're just laughing at this scene, because her reaction, and then she's like, and then when she goes back to camp, she just dumps this head on the floor in front of Dylan O'Brien. She sprays blood all over him. He's just like, what the hell? And she's like, I like hunting. Like, she's really getting into this. And because she loves the Survivor stuff, and she's like, wants me to show Survivor, and she's a big survival nut. She's like the Bear Grylls, Ray Mears type. She's loving it. She's becoming herself. And it's like she's becoming prettier as it goes. It's kind of got that classic rom-com thing where the sort of ugly little girl slowly becoming a swan. And living on this island, she's starting to look good. She's starting to like, the hair starts to go up, the glasses come off, the sort of top comes undone a little bit. She's starting to look attractive, and he's kind of seeing it a little bit as well. That she's coming into her own. She's really blossoming on this island, and he's like going down and she's going up. It's sort of like doing a thing where he's originally like the good-looking, attractive, handsome arsehole guy, and she's this like undertrodden, like geeky little girl. And slowly we're sort of doing this, you know what I mean, with the characters. And the art they both go on is fantastic. Like, it's foreign the way they are. And essentially you get this thing where he's starting to go a bit nicer to her. They start having a moment. They sort of, every so often they have a little cuddle, and you think, oh, you can see a romance. Again, the rom-com side. If you want to take your girlfriend to this, don't tell her what it is, and she'll believe she's watching a rom-com for like 80% of this movie. Then suddenly at the end she'll be like, what am I watching? Sort of a moment. Now there is a scene where he's sort of like, so that's a scene where she leaves him on his own on the island. I got massive Stephen King's Misery vibes from that. So when he's just left on his own, if you read the book Misery by Stephen King, which is a fantastic book, I do recommend you read it. It is, I'd say, better than the movie. The movie's fantastic in itself, but the book is actually better, and you get more of a sense of how long he's there for. And they did a really good job in that movie, showing his pain, because obviously he's reliant on Annie Wilkes in Misery for the pain relief. So she leaves him. He's got to try and like cope his pain relief. He's got no medication. But this is kind of when she leaves him that time when he's at the island. I was like, this has got Annie Wilkes vibes. Like she's proper like got Annie Wilkes vibes. In fact, she just left him there to suffer. But they sort of bond. They sort of help each other build shelters. His leg gets better. He goes on walks. You get this thing where they go up this like they climb up the mountain. She takes him to the top of this mountain, and she's like, right, when you can get around by yourself, obviously, like. Don't go over that section. See, there's two rocks that all like lay like that. And he's like, don't go over there because over there there's like really sharp, dangerous nettles. This is nasty. She shows him like she's trying to teach him how to survive on the island. I suppose because her mind saying happens to her, he's on his own. So she's teaching him stuff. He's like, those berries, don't eat those. They're poisonous. Just never eat them. If you rub it on your skin, see it gives you a reaction. That's how you know. Just be careful. He's like, okay. Then she almost falls, and he saves her and pulls her up. And they get closeness. Then there's a storm on the island. They get closer again, huddling up in a cave. So you kind of feel like they're going to have this romance. And then you sort of like, then there's a scene where she goes off wandering the island, and she suddenly sees like a boat, and she's like, and then she's like, no, not yet. And so she doesn't want to get rescued because she's enjoying being on this island. She's been enjoying being with him on the island. And she knows as soon as they get rescued, that's over. And she's like, no, and she just doesn't tell him about this boat, so she knows they could have got off. And then a few more things happen, like suddenly she's got a knife, and he's like, where'd you get that from? She went, it washed up on the beach. It was amazing, isn't it, like sort of thing. And you're like, that's weird. And then they do a thing like, there's a moment in this film where I think if they hadn't have shown us that until the end, it would have made more of an impact at the end. So Dylan O'Brien's character has a fiance. We meet her earlier on in the movie in the office. And he's engaged with his lovely big shiny diamond ring. And Amy McAdams is going around trying to gather some stuff together and like get food and stuff like that. And suddenly she hears shouting, and the fiance's on a boat. She's come looking for him to rescue him. And Amy McAdams is like, oh crap, like she doesn't want him there. And they all come off the boat and that, and they're like, oh, where is he? Where is he? She's like, I'll take you to him. She ends up leading him up the cliff and ends up like, then you see the fiance fall, and it kind of like you cut and you don't really know what's happened. But Amy McAdams comes back to the camp quite quiet and distant. And Dylan O'Brien has no idea his fiance's been on this island. You're kind of wondering what's happened. Like, did she fall? Did she whatever? Sort of thing. And the film goes on. And then we get a scene where Dylan O'Brien says earlier that he wants to try and escape on a raft. And he's got a sense, because the way Amy McAdams is talking to him, that he's got a sense that she doesn't want to get off this island. Like, he's noticing, like, so he tries to escape the island. And he gives her this, like, these berries that he'd seen earlier that are going to make you ill if you eat them. He gives them to Amy McAdams, and she gets a bit poorly. Linda, her name is, gets a bit poorly, starts being sick, and he runs and gets this raft he made. He's going to try and get away on a raft. The raft then disintegrates in the ocean, so his plan's just stupid from the start. He swims back to shore. She brings him back to life while throwing up all over him. This film has got some really sick and gruesome moments. She's throwing up all over him as she's trying to resuscitate what's going on with his face. He ends up waking up and he's alive, sort of thing. And then she takes him to the side. She gives him like this octopus to eat. So he's eating this octopus, and suddenly he goes all up, and goes like, oh, I can't move. And he's paralysed him because she's giving him toxins from this blue-ringed octopus. So I'm pretty sure it's lethal. I think blue-ringed octopuses are really venomous, but she gives him this to eat, and he's like, so he becomes paralysed. And she says basically she's going to cut off his testicles. And she goes to do it, and you see his blood flying up, and you're like, this is the scene where I was in the thing going like, I don't like this. This is making me feel a bit queasy, a bit ill. Because anything like that, I don't like. Like, I remember years ago watching I Spit on Your Grave. And there's a scene in a bathtub, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, where I was like, oh, I felt a little bit queasy, a little bit, oh, like, went a bit jelly in the legs watching that. So watching this scene, I was like, no. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a 15, they're not going to do this in a 15. And she's putting a trick on him, because she actually pulls up, she's got a dead rat underneath him. And he suddenly looks down, he's like, he's fine down there, but she made it look like she off his testicles to try and stop him from leaving. Again, I got massive Misery Annie Wilkes vibes from that scene. I was like, oh my god, she's going to like cripple him or something, you know what I mean? And then she goes, she said, I'm going to take off your privates because it will calm you down the way you do with a dog and stuff. I was like, oh my god, where's this movie going? So then we get this, like, she just pulls up this dead rat and she's like, that's what I really cut, like, but if you ever do this again, I'm going to cut them off, like, sort of thing. And he's like, oh, so he becomes subservient to her in a way. So then we sort of move on a bit more. And that scene I was talking about earlier with the girl on the boat, his fiance turning up on the boat and then her disappearing. They should never have put that in the movie then. They should have revealed all this right at the end, because then we get this scene where he then tries to escape her. They end up in like a fight together. He gouges at her eye. They have a real brutal fight with each other. and there's like knives involved and like bootleg string. They're trying to kill each other, all this sort of stuff. And this is because he has found the arm sticking out of the beach of his fiance with a wedding ring on it. So then he fights her. They have this fight about it, and then they sort of make their way around the corner, and we find out that the whole time they've been on this island, there's been a house, like one of these, like, I don't know, Epstein Island sort of houses, I suppose, I don't know. Like Richard Branson sort of island place, where like a millionaire obviously owns it, and he has his own island, and he's got a house on there. And Amy McAdams knows this and has been going to the house to get the knives and things to make dinner. That's why she had such amazing food to give him all the way through this movie. And she's been using this house and stuff, and she hasn't told him about it, because obviously there'd be phones and stuff there. He then gets the house, oh my God, this is here. Then Amy McAdams reveals that, yes, your fiance did turn up. I killed her and the person that came with her. Because when she fell off the cliff, and we see that part, which again, I wish we hadn't seen it, because it would have made this impact at the end more interesting. But like, she then smacks the guy on the head. They fall down and die off this cliff. She's then not told them that there's this house here and a possible way of getting off the island because she wants to keep him there. Also, it's been revealed that she's been keeping him prisoner the whole time against his will by not telling him about this house and stuff. So then they end up in this big fight thing, and then you see her sort of like, what you think, kill him. Again, I like the way they leave this, because it's kind of slightly open a little bit. So then she whacks him with a thing, and then suddenly she gets off the island. You then see her in like a year in the future. She's off the island. She's sold books about being on the island. She's made a lot of money. She's become a celebrity. She's in a celebrity golf tournament, because the very end of the film, she's got a golf club. She goes like that to Dylan O'Brien, and we don't see him die necessarily, but like we see the thing. She's then she's wrote books. She's become successful. They're interviewing her at this golf tournament, like celebrity thing, about how amazing she's done. And she like gives a wink to the camera, like, and I think that's where they should have ended the movie. They didn't do another bit where you see her driving down the road. She's got a pet bird in the cage we saw earlier, driving along, and she gives like a little subtle little wink to the camera, like a little stare at the camera, like a dark, evil stare at the camera, and then looks back to the road, and the film ends. And I remember thinking, like, that little bit of scene, we should have left it at the golf tournament, the little wink to the camera. That would have been a much better ending for that character. The whole driving along, saying he's staring at the screen was weird. And then the film ends, you get like the credits roll. There's like all like obviously stuff from her book, like little survival pictures that she'd obviously written in her book. And this was a great film. It's also shown me a little bit of survival stuff. They show you a few little survival tricks in the movie, like how to get water with coconuts and like palm leaves so water runs down into them. There is a lot of great stuff in this movie, from start to finish. Fun. So the only thing I had issue with is that they should have put the fiance scene. They shouldn't have bothered showing that till the very end, and had a big reveal at the end of all the ways she's trapped him on the island. The fact we saw that a bit earlier kind of like ruined it a little bit. We should have seen her come back from doing something a bit down, a bit weirdy. But yeah, this film is brilliant. The two actors in it, but they carry this movie themselves. 90% of this movie is just those two on an island playing off each other, and they do it so well. This movie is phenomenal. I'd recommend everyone, if you haven't seen it, and I know I've spoiled it to hell, but if you haven't seen it, go and watch it, because I'm not doing this movie anywhere near the justice it deserves. This film is definitely my film of the year. I know we're only in February, so it's hard to say that in a minute, but this film is brilliant. It had me laughing. And I said, if you're wanting to take your wife's girlfriends out on a date and they want to watch a rom-com, take them to this. There's a lot of rom-com stuff in it, but it also heads to the horror side. I said to when I got back from it, I said to my wife, you would have liked that film. She was like, but I don't like the horror. So I said, but you would have, trust me, this film you'd like. When it comes out on DVD, I said to her, I'm gonna get it and we'll sit down and watch it together, because I know she'll like this one, and I think my kids would like this one as well, especially my daughter, who sort of massively got into the horror stuff, but she also likes the Friends and the rom-com stuff as well. So I think they would like this one as well. It's 15 rated, and there is a bit of blood spatter and stuff like that, but it's not. Again, the testicle removal scene, again, made me feel sick, and I was like, I think I'm going to go woozy on this one, but I didn't, because obviously they do it's the rat instead. Great. And I said like the elements where you get that sort of like Misery-esque feel from Rachel McAdams, when you see her going a little bit cuckoo, and you probably think she's been cuckoo the whole time, but you can see like she goes proper nuts, and she looks evil and twisted, especially when you get to the end of the film. After she's had the fight with Dylan O'Brien, she's a little bit battered up, she's bloody, she's got mud on her hair's all down. She looks proper psychotic, and it's done so well. I mean, that's the image they kind of try and use for the poster here. There's actually another poster. I've got these posters from, I mean, I went to see it in my local cinema, like Ashford Cinema, but I actually got these posters from Cineworld. They do, like that poster of it. What they do in my local cinema is they do like a if you pay a donation, you get the old movie posters they don't use. So instead of chucking the movie poster in the bin or wherever they used to do them, they now do this like, you know, got a pot on the side. Take a movie poster, chuck a donation in. The recommended donation is like £1 for a poster. Chuck your donation in, give it to them at the tills if you want to, and you can take home a movie poster. And I always pop, whenever I go past that area, because there's a lot of food outlets down there and that, I often like pop in just to see what posters they've got. I'm hoping they have a screen one at some point, because I really love a big giant Ghostface poster from a wall. Again, these ones I've just got up for now for this. I'm going to I might pass one to a friend or whatever. But I might keep it for myself. I've got loads of posters from there. So definitely worth checking out your local Cineworld cinema, because they might do it in your one. This is the Ashford one in Ashford, Kent, that I go to. So check out your local Cineworld. You might be able to grab yourself a poster. But yeah, just go to the cinema and see this film, especially sort of like, it's got the Valentine's-esque feel to it. It's almost like a rom-com, as I said. It might work with your partner if you don't want to watch your classic, normal, boring rom-com. I keep feeling like it's nice, going to stick me in the ear there. I keep looking in the camera. But yeah, definitely do not miss this film. Again, I'm going to buy it on DVD when it comes out, or Blu-ray, whatever I'll buy it on, because it is worth it. It's such a fun time. So anyway, guys, hope you have a good time. Hope you enjoy yourself at your films. Let me know what you thought of the film. Please message in the comments below what you thought of the film. Did you think showing the scene with the fiance kind of dampened the ending a little bit? I think it did myself. Did you like the little Bruce Campbell portrait in the background that we saw halfway through there? Did you think this is a good film? Can you see a sequel? I don't think he's dead. I think we're going to get a sequel where he's not dead. Because you didn't actually see him body, you didn't see him dead, you didn't see anything like that. They mentioned Soul survived, but they could easily make it so he doesn't die on the island, maybe. Like she thinks he's dead, but he's not, and he comes back for revenge. I'd watch that. I'd watch the hell out of that film as well, especially if it's done by the same director with the same people in it. I'd love it. Guys, I'll see you Ryan soon. Enjoy yourself. Please comment and stuff and subscribe and all that like stuff. And I'm monetized now, so if you really liked it and you want to send me a couple of quid because you appreciate it, I feel bad saying this, but you want to, because like my kids are like, oh my god, you're monetized, we're gonna be rich. And it's like, no, you don't understand. But if you could, that'll just make my kids laugh. Really, I could buy them a chocolate bar or something. Cheers, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. There'll be more stuff on the channel. There's like trailer reactions, reviews. I'm unboxed stuff. I recently unboxed the Little People It thing. If you want to watch that video, but go back and watch the stuff. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye bye.